Shalom Akim, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah Kadash. Double honors and salutations to the elders and apostles of greatness and well, and to the Akim on the four corners of the earth, preaching the gospel from our Shekinah Shine, sincerity and truth and diligence of mind. This but I'm not DC Camp, short lesson for the hopeful elect. Yes, always a never-ending supply of topics to go into, man, because you know, Babylon is just the land of confusion, and the Lord has a bone to pick with the elites of Esau, and hey, the scriptures, the scripture, of the Lord, goes into the details of why the Most High has a controversy with Esau. All right, so with all these media outlets talking about white supremacy, this white supremacy that. They don't understand. Well, they're just playing games. That's uh, that's the America's model. That's America's business model. That's a model of economic, or how you say it, supremacy. That's how they're able to stay on top. All right. So all these so-called moves and movements they're trying to create against white supremacy is all fake. The elites of these Edomites, they got their wealth through that business model of white supremacy. How they conquered lands, in the so-called name of doctrine of discovery and so-called civilizing, you know, uh, peoples on different lands where they had to conquer around the face of the earth. So it just shows you how a bunch of actors they are. Okay, and all this drama they always like to say, well, you have to stand up against white supremacy. I'm like, how the hell are you gonna fight against something that's fully, fully funded? You know, it's got all the, heavy, heavy hitting weapons that mankind has never seen before. They got all types of weapons, biological, chemical, uh, all types, man. With the ammunitions, and then you have the ones with the sound waves or scalar waves or whatever. You got lasers, man. Then you got you got all types. Then you have the medications, and then you have so much, man. Weapons that have been formed against you, and the Lord has already said, whatever weapons formed against you shall not prosper. So, these media outlets, man, they're all, their foundation was built on white supremacy, man. Same thing with the Pentagon, the FBI, your local police department is not really there for the cares of the people. It's there to keep the plantation running, all right? To make sure that the slave master can sleep at night and make sure his investments are protected, all right? So you have to be aware of you know the foundation of the place, where you find yourself, man. That's Babylon, and the Lord is about to tear it down anyway. So why you want to hold on to it? Okay, so there's nothing that people can do, man, to change Babylon, man. It's all a false narrative they're trying to create to come against the people, to divide the people. That's the elite strategy: divide and conquer. All right. So I'm going to read from the book of Ezekiel, chapter 28. All right. Ezekiel chapter 28. I'm going to read from verse 3 to 5. All right. Make this as brief as possible. So it says, Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. With thy wisdom and with thine understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches, and hast gotten gold, and silver into thy treasures. Yeah, so these elites that run the world, that run the EU and NATO and control Africa and Asia and the Middle East. How do you think they got their wealth? How do you think they built up their influence? It was true white supremacy. So all this so-called call for for stand against white supremacy is just hogwash, man. It's just what you say, lipstick on the pig. Still the same old tactics. All right. So you read verse 5 says, by thy great wisdom and by thy traffic hast thou increased thy riches, and thine heart is lifted up because of thy riches. And that's what it boils down to, man. White supremacy is a business model, okay? And the elite will use it at any cost to make sure they have their power maintained. With the whole issue with drug trafficking and human trafficking, usury and polluting the environment so they could make a quick profit, assassination of people, destroying of households and all that stuff. It's all tied in, to the economic model of white supremacy. That's exactly why the world is upside down because of these Edomites, man. They always have to use, you know, so-called the covering of righteousness as excuse to keep themselves in power. But it's all falsehoods. So that's the reason why, the Lord is fighting against them with the words of truth, and they can't stand it, okay? And they see that their power is waning, and they can't come against the word of the Lord. They don't have the weapons, they don't have the wisdom to overthrow it. So they're going to try and attack however they can, with all these false flags and all these lies and false reports. So always remember, man, all these import exports that Esau, controls. It's not to keep you happy and to keep you healthy and all that stuff. It's for him to stay in power. Okay? So when he writes legislation and all the tax codes and all that stuff and policies, is to make sure that his power structure, you stays stable and is everlasting, just like the book of Psalms, chapter 49, verse 11. It says that the inward thoughts is that the houses shall continue forever. I'll read it again. In Psalms 49, verse 11 says, the inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. So from the elite bankers that have the mansions and all those bullions of gold that control the cocoa trade, that control the price of gold and silver and precious metals, and own all these conglomerates, what do you think their whole agenda is? Is to be on top. So whatever doctrine they gotta use, they're gonna have to come up with something and back it up with a sword and their lies, okay? And to try to find people to buy into it. And that's exactly what they do. They always have to come up with another scheme to stay on top. So, from the book of Revelation, chapter 18, I'm going to read from 11 to 13. It says, and the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buy the merchandise anymore. So this is the end of so-called the elites, man. When the Lord crushes their doctrine, crushes their power structure, and crushes their pride, then all their so-called business partners around the four corners of the earth of these different nations, they're gonna be sad when the cash cow, aka America, has gone down, including Europe. You know, there'll be no more so-called business dealings that these elite Edomites will be in control of anymore. Then verse 12 says, the merchandise of gold and silver, and precious stones, and of pearls, and fine linen, and purple, and silk, and scarlet, and all time wood, and all manner vessels of ivory, and all manner vessels of most precious wood, and of brass, and of iron, and marble, and cinnamon, and odors, and ointments, and frankincense, and wine, and oil, and fine flour, and wheat, and beasts, and sheep, and horses, and chariots, and slaves, and souls of men. That's a lot, you know, that's a lot of resources in the hands of these elite Edomites, man, these bankers, man. That's a lot. Can you imagine having control over commerce, over livestock, over perfumes and all this stuff? Over food, over the lives of people, over transportation, over communication. Can you imagine how much wealth that is? So that's so-called white supremacy for you, man. So that was a point that I can, don't fall into this drama of Esau trying to tell you that you got to make a stand against white supremacy in the military, against the in the police and all that, oppressing Asians and blacks and Latinos, and know that when the Klansman was doing his deed, you know, the government wasn't willing to stop him because they were the government, and they all morphed into different areas of Babylon, man. They control everything, and you hear about the alliances, so-called clans organization have with Amalek. So it's not a big surprise, man. That's exactly what they do, to stay in power. They always have to create a narrative to divide the people, while at the same time they're practicing it in the organization and behind closed doors to hold back the children of Israel. So I can, stay awake, man, because this devil, man, is always up to something. All right, stay spiritual, and the Mashak Yahushua will guide you through. Shalom.